good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Ek Boon Soch Ki by Tea Talk. Today we have here Kurush Italia and his beautiful wife Rachel. Kurush, how are you doing? Good?
Oh man, it's good to be back.
Great.
It's glad to see you. It's been such a long time, right?
I know. It's been almost like 10 years.
Woo! Time flies.
Time flies.
Like, it's crazy, but it's good to be here and glad to see you're doing great and, we're all flourishing,
Thank you. By the way, Kurush went to school with my son, and I heard about him, his story the other day. He was talking to my son was talking to him, and I just a little bit overheard, and I said, I want to interview him. This is a nice success story here. So basically, we would let Kurush talk here and tell us about him, but I'll have a few questions. Kurush went to engineering college. He wanted to become aerospace engineer.
Yeah, that was
and
it.
Then all of a sudden, after doing what you told me that
Soul searching,
and you went into entirely different line.
Absolutely.
Which is real estate.
Yeah.
And by the way, this for Indian audience, I just want to clarify. Over there, real estate is here. Real estate over there, it's property dealing, but it's very different. Here, it's very much structured, and you have to have a license, and you have to go through some regulations, government regulations, and some agencies monitor you so that you don't do anything hanky-panky, right? So it's basically
I actually don't have a license.
Okay. Okay. So, but again, you have to have
Because if you did, you would have to be in all the regulations, and that was a big reason why I went this route. Because if you're an investor and you're not going through the normal getting a loan and you're buying things with cash, there's a lot of less red tape that way.
Yeah, but you can do either way.
Totally.
Basically. You can do either way. It's nothing wrong or right.
No.
Yeah.
You can get your license.
Yeah, you can get a license.
Rachel
you
actually
can
has
queue
a
without the
license.
license. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about yourself, like from engineering to real estate. And I heard that you're doing pretty well.
Well, we all try, and I wouldn't say that we're millionaires or we made it, but we're just on the beginning of our path. The journey is always ongoing, and that's the beautiful part about it, is that you just have to keep taking every day one step at a time. And how does someone get from studying engineering for many, many years into getting into real estate, right? It's doesn't happen overnight. I was talking with your son Hirsch, and it's been about 10 years since we've seen each other, and 4 or 5 years since I've seen Hirsch too, and it's just been time has flown by, but at the same time, the years are long too. You're learning a lot of different things, a lot of different struggles, but it all just started when going in from high school. My parents wanted me to get a higher education degree, as all Indian parents do, and we definitely went through that, and there was something inside of me that knew maybe engineering wasn't the right path for me at the time, but it was something about being able to finish my degree, having that, and that will always be there. There's always going to be engineering jobs, and even after school, getting a degree, establishing myself financially, being able to pay off my loans. Student loans are a big thing here, It's you're paying almost $100,000 plus for your education, so you have to pay them off. And once I was able to do that, going into working for about 4 or 5 years, and I'm not saying it's for everyone, but it was just just a matter of certain events, whether it was, maybe not feeling like it was the best work environment for me, or, my boss was my colleague, I say that, for my second job, and when he became my boss, he wrote me up.
Oh.
The first day. Yeah,
wow.
he did really, I don't think he really liked me that much, and I can kind of see the writing on the wall, and I went back home to Rachel that day, and I told her, if I can either look for another job, or I can, pursue this real estate thing that I recently went to a seminar, I went to a 3-day thing, and I was like, hey, this is really exciting me, and work as an engineer, I'd say, although it was very, very, very lucky and blessed that I had that whole opportunity, it just didn't feel like it was the right path for me, Sometimes you look at your boss and you want that job, and for me it was like, I don't know if I really want that, it's
right.
if that's what I'm working up to, then maybe it's a time to make a change and take
right.
a chance on something different, especially when we're still a little bit younger and we haven't really established our family at all yet. And it's kind of hard sometimes when you have kids, right? You have more than just
right.
someone else. You have to make sure you're providing for someone. And like a lot of other Americans, if you're here for generations, you can build some kind of generational wealth. But my parents are from Bombay. I'm a first generation person here, and there isn't much of a safety net, right?
And you're a Parsi.
We're Parsi, exactly.
Parsi, yeah.
So
it's Parsis are smart people.
Thanks.
They're very intelligent people and very honest.
Well, that's true. We are very honest to a fault sometimes. That gets us in trouble, but we have to always. Integrity is a big thing for us. And J.R. Tata is definitely our role models. He is. So it's hopefully it's in our blood, but I wouldn't say all of us are smart. There's definitely some. I don't think I'm smart. I'm surrounded by great people.
Very nice. Very nice. It's great. So tell us about this. That you already told us what made you jump from engineering job to the real estate thing.
Sure.
And you probably saw that okay, there is you can go so much, you can do so much in the job, and then you have like for example, you got written up. Written up is basically he got a memo in the first day after his boss came over.
Yeah.
And which sucks.
It is. It's not something you want to have, right?
Yeah.
But it's all you can laugh. I can laugh about it now, but it was definitely
right. But it's not a good feeling.
Stressful, for sure.
Yeah. Tell us, you also probably saw the scalability in this issue where you can expand. In the job, you probably was gonna get stuck there. You can grow a little bit, but to a certain extent.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, right? There's it's very structured. The raises, if they came, they weren't that big, but at the same time, I don't think it was necessarily about the money, because I know that they always say do whatever you love and the money will come, right?
True. Very true.
And it always does, and I completely agree with that. But I think the biggest thing was figuring out that you work in India. It's actually quite nice. You have a lot of vacation time over here. Not so much here in America, right?
Correct.
They give you 2 weeks, and maybe once you work 10 years, they give you 3 weeks. And for me, it was kind of like, okay, well, how am I supposed to be able to do the things that I want without, taking less than 2 weeks off at a time, right? So it's more about the time freedom. And here, they expect you to work not only 40 hours, but sometimes as you get up in the ranks, hey, work until the job is done, right?
Exactly.
And they put you on salary. They don't pay you by hourly, and then you're working 50 hours. And, and for me, I think that was the tipping point, is that once I got written up, it was more about, I'm doing all the things right in my mind, and I'm working extra, and yet they still don't value what I'm doing. And from other experiences from my parents and them having some issues with that, it was just more so I wanted to be able to do things on my own time and with my own abilities, you know? So starting a business was always something I wanted to do, whether it was watching Shark Tank, which is an amazing American show, you guys should watch it, and being an entrepreneur. But you know, it's always about finding the right idea that's scalable. You know, food industries, very, very small margins for the most part, unless you're you know, a Michelin star chef. I even was thinking about starting my own CrossFit gym at one point, you know, because I was getting into that. But again, like you said, it's about scalability and also figuring out a way, because it's not a true business until you can actually take yourself out of it, you know? At the beginning, you have to be in it and you have to create a job for yourself, right? Because
you have to take risk.
Bills, a lot of risk, right?
A lot of risk, yeah.
I mean, it's you're putting your whole, you know, your life savings on the line sometimes.
Yeah.
And there's times where there's time. It's an up. We were talking about that, right?
Yeah,
it's a roller coaster. But as long as it's going up and down in an upward trajectory, you know, sometimes you know, you just have to take it day by day and not think too much about those things, but focus on what your target is. But for me, circling back, it was more about, it's about everyone has 24 hours in the day. Hey, I can see that, you know, my dad, he was retiring at 65, and I didn't really want to wait that long. I wanted to be able to enjoy other things, and not only that, I wanted to spend more time figuring out how I can give back more to people too.
Right. So you're successful today, and you're going towards upward trajectory, and you're glad, you're happy, and this is before you actually start your family. You're already getting there.
I'm taking every step.
So what do you think, and what would you suggest to the our young generation? You're young, I'm not saying that, but
I don't feel that way anymore. I was waking up and my back was hurting. But
So in business, one thing why I wanted to interview you, that you left whatever you say that, okay, you have in jobs, you have a certain security.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that you are getting so much money at home, and you know that money will come home. But then all of a sudden, when you leave that and go into an uncharted territory, which you have not seen, and you're gonna jump there, like jumping into an ocean and start swimming there.
Yeah.
So, what would you tell what would you suggest to other people? What to do and how to do it?
Totally. So at first, I think the passion has to be there, right?
Right.
Because it's not going to be rosy. It's not going to be easy. Whatever business you go into, there's always going to be a learning curve there.
Right.
So you have to have that hunger to learn, and you have to be able to be okay with failure, because you're going to be failing a lot. Because it's all new. It's not like you learned it in school. There's only so much you can learn in school, even if you had a business degree, right? Businesses in real life, they don't care. You know, they don't care who you are. All it cares about is who is doing what they need to do to be successful.
Right.
And sometimes you can do all the things right and still fail and still lose money, right? Because of an economic crisis, or because you were just marketing to the wrong audience, different things like that. So what I would say is what's helped me the most is finding the right mentor that helps you with that. You can learn all those things on your own and you can figure that all out, but at what cost, right? I mean, that's kind of one of the things, you know, since I was the younger sibling, I was always able to learn from my older sibling. You know, I had an older sister who, you know, is in real estate too, and she's doing great. But for me, it was about being able to learn from other people's mistakes and talking to them, joining masterminds, paying for things and investing in yourself, you know. Yeah, they're going to be thousands of dollars or, you know, whatever it is, but paying for that information and making sure that obviously you find the right mentor that's doing the thing exactly where you want to go. They kind of are where you already, they are where you want to be, you know?
Right.
So you can, having that, being able to, not only just one person, but having a community that you can be a part of, because sometimes there's going to be failures where if you're alone on your island, you build it up and you make it feel like it's irreversible. And then someone can come and go, hey, no, you just do this and that, and it reduces your learning curve.
Right.
I mean, and that was kind of the thing, right? Is that you can learn and you can take all lifetime to learn something, but I think if you can pay a certain amount and have an advisor in some kind of way or a mentor and cut that time in half, then it saves valuable years of your life.
Oh yeah.
And so much headache too.
It can give you a head start in the business.
So much.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, we pay so much for education when we go to school, right? So why not? I mean, for me, you have to, it's always about, you have to keep learning. It's always about continual development. Even though, yes, even though I'm somewhat successful now, it doesn't mean I should stop learning.
Correct.
Paying to keep learning what the new thing is, because in a capitalistic society, if you're not learning, then I don't think you're keeping up with the times, and someone brand new is going to be even hungrier and they'll boot you out. You know?
Exactly.
It's that.
Exactly.
It's kind of like
brutal.
that. It's business is very brutal that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not for everyone. And if you're someone that likes the stability, it's hard. I mean, Rachel is definitely one of those people that likes that stability. But if you have a partner or spouse or whatever you want to be doing business with, because it's not just about you, it goes into your family, it goes into your personal life.
Sure.
You know, you have to sacrifice times out with your friends and different things, but you got to make sure that everyone first, before you get started, is bought in with your vision. Right? If everyone's not on board, then there's going to be some fallout and maybe some things that you don't want to happen because of it. You know, you can see that some relationships get burned from it and all of that, but it's very important to make sure that everyone, before you get started and you see who you're going to be affecting with your decision, it's not just going to affect you, it's going to affect everyone else around you. So you have to make sure you sit down. If someone's not comfortable with those, you have to take your time and make them feel comfortable with it. Right. And once you have the full buy-in, then you can go for it and feel, and you have to keep doing those daily check-in, those weekly check-ins and things like that. But yeah, the ambition has to be there. You have to come up with a plan, and I would say have a mentor that helps you stick to that plan and those goals and lifts you up with them, you know? Very
nice. Rachel, are you excited what Kurush is doing?
I mean, every year it just, you think like, oh, like we're gonna hit a plateau, but this guy's definitely every year, like he said, continually gotten better, and it always surprises me in a good way what we've managed, sitting at the end of 2021, looking at we sit down every year and make annual goals as a family, as individuals, as his business. We're pretty big on that. So it's pretty crazy to look back. Now it's kind of the time of year where we look back and see what we've accomplished, and every year our goals get bigger, and I'm like, we're not gonna get it this year, and when we do, it's like that thing where shoot for the stars,
higher,
and then if you land, you'll land on the moon, or whatever that phrase is. It's very true.
If you don't plan higher, then you cannot get
there.
Yeah,
exactly.
So it's a good way to go about it.
Yeah, so he always has very lofty goals that sometimes I'm a little bit more of a skeptic, but I'm like, whoa, are we going to get it done? And then when we get to the end of the year and we're like, wow, we actually got 80-90% of our goals done. And
that's amazing.
It's been, it's no longer a shock anymore because it happens year over year.
But achieving 80 to 90% is a pretty good figure.
That's what we shoot for.
Yeah.
80% is the bare minimum, and but I wasn't always like that, you know. It's come from, you know, years of trials, failures. I mean, if you told my 20-something-year-old self, hey, you're going to be writing your goals down and you're going to be very regimented, and that wouldn't be appealing to me,
correct,
right?
Correct.
But to be able to accomplish something, it's not about, you know, everyone comes up with a New Year's, it's kind of all around New Year's right now. I don't know when you guys are watching this, but everyone comes up with New Year's resolutions, right? But I don't like resolutions.
Hardly anyone follows
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, because what resolutions is, I mean, that's another important thing, is that whatever your resolutions are, you need to have it as a goal. It needs to be a goal, not a resolution.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to go to the gym
Yeah.
and get better. But until you make it really specific, you know, it's measurable, it's attainable, you put a time stamp on it, you know. They call them SMART goals. I forgot which book that was from, but it's as specific, measurable, attainable. I don't know what the R is, but the time stamp, results driven. That's right. So once you're able to write them down, I mean, it sounds so simple that you write down your goals. People, if that's the one thing you get from it, whatever you want to do, you just have to write it down. And the crazy thing is, if you write it down and you review them every week, you will achieve them, because it's going to be top of mind. Because as you know, as you get older, there's so many things that start coming up that can stray you away from your path.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying those aren't important, but hey, Bill Gates, you know, Amitabh Bachchan, Elon Musk, they only have 24 hours in the day.
Right.
We're all on an even playing field.
Right.
So making sure that you're filling your time with the things that are the most important to you and to your family first, and then important to you second. That's how it's got to be. And reviewing those not just monthly but weekly. You don't write them down and put them away. You keep them open somewhere. You review them, and a lot of times it will affect what you do daily, because you know that that's something you wanted to do later on.
Right.
But yeah, it's a very it's not something that you get instant gratification, right? We're so used to that.
Yeah, instant gratification is like it's not practical. Basically, it's you have to work on your goals, and you have to be patient about it, and you have to be consistent what you're doing.
Absolutely. I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. It's not that I'm smarter than anyone. I don't think so. I actually feel like I'm a little slow in some points, but consistency and a clear vision and focus.
Focus is the key.
Consistency and focus. That's what it is, right? I mean, you can have someone. I mean, you've owned businesses yourself, Uncle, and having someone that is. Would you rather have someone that is consistent, or would you rather have someone that is a high achiever but burns out very quickly, right?
Quickly, yeah.
You know,
you don't want to have like success at one side and like you get burned, and then you like your family is affected and all that stuff. You have to keep it back, keep a right balance.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you know, that's kind of the other thing, is that start smaller than what you think you can do, because everyone thinks they can I think Gary Vee said this, but you know, you overestimate you can do in a year, but you underestimate what you could do in a decade, you know? And no one likes to think that far in advance, and it's hard to in the beginning, you know? You have to be able to, if it's only what you can plan for a month first, start there. We weren't able to do yearly planning the first year, right? But it's also making sure that you can think about how as far as you can go, and as you do it more and more often, then the vision will become a little bit more clearer for you. You know, for me at first it was about, I just need to get away from this toxic job that I was at, because I didn't feel good. So I had to find something that would earn me an income. Because if I was going to quit my engineering job that was going to pay me 6 figures, I need to find something that is going to pay me 6 figures to sustain my lifestyle. And for the first 1, 2, 3 years, that wasn't the case. You know, I went back to being paid a very low wage because a lot of times that's what you have to do as a business owner is take the hit and learn. But that's the amazing thing is that after all of these years, the knowledge is always going to be there, you know? And that's the great thing about it is that, but be careful, or, you know, know that you're going to be a different person at the end of your journey or along the journey than you are to begin with. And you want to surround yourself with the people that will grow with you.
Right.
Instead of, you know, sometimes it's going to be tough if you have that girlfriend or if you have a lot of naysayers, which is usually your parents to begin with, because, you know, they want you to be they want you to be safe and they want to take care of you. But
don't do this, don't do that.
That's not possible. You know, you just stay at that job, and a lot of times, you know, as much as you love them, and they will understand later. Everyone will understand later, and it's not just like, oh, you see an Instagram post that this person made it. It's years and years of
hard work.
Very
true.
We're in year 5 now.
Very true.
Yeah, if you talked to us maybe a few years ago, we still would have a lot of insight, but it's interesting to look back. I think what Kurush isn't talking about a lot, because I know you talked a little bit about what about people who want a little more stability, and that's usually what I want. You know, Kurush picked engineering from a very practical standpoint. He knew right out of college he would be at this income level, but he was spending at this level, and everything else he was saving. So what was happening behind the scenes is Kurush kind of was making that security blanket for us. He was also on his hour-long commute to that toxic job, constantly listening to podcasts. So he was starting to put feelers out there before he kind of let go.
Jumped into this.
Correct. So
you have to have a plan.
So he was already prepared.
He had already thought, okay, this job might not be for me. He started doing a lot of the, you know, fact finding, researching, things like that. He's been saving for a while too, but
so he did his homework. He put a cushion there.
Otherwise, I don't know if I would have jumped along. But he had a plan.
I don't recommend that. You know, that made it a lot more stressful. Being able to, I mean, that was all there. I mean, I got fired from my job actually at the end of it, which it was very embarrassing for me to say in the beginning, but it happens, right? But I would say if you're going to try to do something, start small. Do a side hustle first, you know, because that income coming in is very valuable to you, right? Without that, I am very, very thankful for that company and that job, because it helped us get to where I am today, you know? Learning all of those things, interacting with people, being able to get assignments done on time. Whether that was a good fit for the company or not, they made their own decision, that's fine. But you can only control what you can control. But I would say it's a lot easier to start something when you have a steady stream coming in. And even when that happened, but planning ahead and making sure that you are secure, you're not spending what you make, right? That is how you know, start building wealth, right? Is you have to save somehow. If you keep spending more or the same that you make, Hirsch knows this really easily, but you have to be able to save, you know, because then that's how you're starting to buy assets and then things that can start making you money without having to work, right? Because that's the end goal, is being able to make money without trading time for it. When you trade time for money, then you'll always have to keep doing that. But if you start saving and start investing the money that you've saved into now giving passive income, that's the goal, right? That's the dream. So you don't have to then trade, you know, the hours of your day for money. You can then start focusing on things where, you know, you can give back to the community, or
this is very important. What you said,
wealth.
Giving back to the community.
Absolutely. I mean, as a Parsi, are, the thing that we always get born with is, good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. That's what
I like about
said.
Parsi community. It's really
So simple,
strong
but
and
very
simple and very
powerful.
strong.
Yeah, so strong. And that's always resonated with me is that, one of my core values, that you learn about who you are is good deeds. I love giving back. And that was also another thing is that if I was working 50, 60 hours, and then on top of that, if I had kids, and now, whoever you give back to, your family is obviously the first you give back to, right? Who got you there? Then your surrounding friends, your close friends. And if you're lucky after that, then you'll have even time to now impact your community and others that may not even know,
Correct, yes.
And you can now focus on issues or thoughts that maybe just someone working and making ends meet, being able to figure out other passion projects and other things. And that was more about where this is coming from. It's, everyone wants to be on an island drinking mimosas or something and not having to worry about a thing, but that's only going to be fulfilling for so long, right? But it's finding your purpose,
Correct.
finding and then aligning your vision on how you're going to reach that purpose is a journey in and of itself. So it's not something that comes overnight. You think about it and you understand where you are, and because that's the motivating factor. A lot of times it's what you want to leave a legacy for your kids or different things like that. But you just have to find whatever that is for you that motivates you when you wake up in the morning, and you think about that, because you're going to get knocked down a lot when you start business.
Thank you, Kurush, and it was wonderful listening to your story, your journey, and Rachel, thank you. And you guys are doing great, very nice, and your thoughts are very clear, and you have your right aim what you want to achieve. Very nice. Thank you very much for being here with us, and on behalf of Tea Talk, Ek Boon Soch Ki, I thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and good luck out there.